Are you looking for the best Hisense TVs? In this video we will look at some of the 4 best TVs on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Hisense U8. The Hisense U8/U8N is one of the best Hisense TVs we've ever tested. It's also one of the best LED TVs we've ever tested when it comes to contrast, delivering very deep blacks that approach the inky blacks you get from OLED TVs with minimal blooming. This makes it look spectacular in a dark room, but it's also highly suitable for use in a bright room since it's also an incredibly bright TV. Combined with its outstanding reflection handling, the TV gets bright enough in SDR to easily overcome glare in even the most well-lit rooms. It's also remarkably bright in HDR, which makes highlights pop out and delivers an impactful HDR viewing experience. Speaking of HDR, the TV supports Dolby Vision and HDR10+, so you're covered when it comes to advanced HDR formats. The TV also delivers vibrant and lifelike colors in HDR content due to its wide color gamut and outstanding color volume. The TV even has very good image processing, so low quality and low resolution content looks good on it. Unfortunately, it has a very narrow viewing angle, so it only looks its best when viewed from the center of the screen. If you're looking for a TV to play video games on, this TV is packed with modern gaming features. It has HDMI 2.1 bandwidth, up to 4K at 144 Hz, and VRR support, so it can take full advantage of modern gaming consoles and can be paired with PCs that have high-end graphics cards. Additionally, it has an excellent response time for minimal blur behind fast motion, and its incredibly low input lag delivers a responsive gaming experience. It's available in a range of sizes from 55 inches up to a gigantic 100 inches, and most sizes deliver a very similar experience, with one exception. The 75-inch model uses an ADS Pro panel instead of the VA panel found on the other sizes, giving it worse contrast and black uniformity than the other sizes, but with a wider viewing angle. You could also opt for last year's Hisense U8/U8K if you're looking to save some money and can find it on sale. It's not as bright, its contrast isn't quite as good, and it has a slower response time than the U8N, but it's still an impressive TV that looks great in any setting. At number 2. Hisense U7N. The best mid-range Hisense TV we've tested is the Hisense U7N. Its contrast isn't as good as the Hisense U8/U8N, but it still delivers deep blacks in a dark room due to its effective local dimming feature, although you do notice more blooming than you do on the U8N. It's not quite as bright overall as the U8N, but it's still a very bright TV that overcomes glare in a well-lit room while watching SDR content, and its HDR peak brightness is still good enough to display bright highlights that stand out. Its color gamut isn't as wide as it is on the U8N, and its color volume isn't as good, but the TV still displays vibrant colors and HDR content that are sure to impress. You also get support for both Dolby Vision and HDR10+. Its image processing is on par with the U8N, so low quality and low resolution content looks just as good on it. Unfortunately, its viewing angle is narrow, so it's not a great option if you regularly watch TV with a group of friends. Despite being cheaper than the U8N, the U7N has the same modern gaming features like HDMI 2.1 bandwidth, 4K at 144 Hz, and VRR support, so it's a good option to pair with gaming PCs, and it's fully compatible with both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. You also get the same low input lag and fast response time, so it provides a responsive gaming experience with minimal blur. It's only available in 3 sizes: 55-inch, 65-inch, and 75-inch. Like the U8N, the 75-inch model uses an ADS Pro panel, with worse contrast but a wider viewing angle. If you want to save some money and you're willing to sacrifice some contrast and brightness, you can still find last year's Hisense U7K on clearance at some retailers. Although it's not as good as the U7N, it still delivers great overall picture quality. At number 3. Hisense U6. If you're on a tighter budget, the Hisense U6/U6K offers great value compared to similarly priced models from other brands. Unlike the Hisense U7N and Hisense U8/U8N, you aren't getting the same high-end features and performance, but it's still quite decent. It uses the same quantum dot technology, which means it displays a wide range of colors and has remarkable pre-calibration accuracy, so you won't have to get it calibrated to get accurate colors. you lose quite a few features by stepping down to the budget range. Like other Hisense TVs, it comes with a VA panel with deep blacks, but its local dimming feature is subpar, struggling to keep up with fast-moving objects. This TV has 4 HDMI 2.0 bandwidth ports with a 60Hz panel, so you lose out on the 144Hz refresh rate of the more expensive models. It does have VRR but over a rather narrow 48 to 60 Hz range. It's also quite a bit dimmer, with worse contrast, than the other models, so HDR content doesn't look as vibrant overall. It supports Dolby Vision in HDR10+ as well as advanced DTS audio format support, but its low-quality content smoothing is poor, so it isn't as good for a home entertainment center as the higher-end models. Still, it's cheaper than the other TVs, and for the price, it's one of the best budget models currently on the market. If you're not looking for high-end performance or features, you'll be very satisfied with the U6. The 2024 Hisense U6N is now available. It's supposed to have an improved local dimming feature for better contrast and an increase in brightness, but it's also a lot more expensive at first. Unless you need those incremental upgrades, you're better off getting the cheaper U6K while it's still available. At number 4. Hisense A6. If you're looking for the cheapest Hisense TV on the market, you're in luck as they have a fantastic cheap model, the Hisense A6/A65K. It's a Costco exclusive, so it's not as widely available as the other models, but it's so good for the price that it's almost worth getting a Costco membership just for this TV. However, you lose out on a few features compared to the Hisense U6/U6K. Most notably, this model doesn't have local dimming to enhance its contrast and is dimmer than the more expensive alternative. However, it uses a PFS phosphor panel to give it a wide color gamut, making it almost as colorful as the higher-end model. Otherwise, it has features you don't normally find on TVs at this price range. It has VRR support, although over the narrow 48 to 60 Hz range. It doesn't support HDR10+ like the more expensive models, but it does have Dolby Vision, which is more widespread. It doesn't support advanced DTS audio formats, but it does support DTS 5.1 over ARC. It has good response time and superbly low input lag, so it's a decent gaming TV overall. Ultimately, this is the best cheap TV on the market, and it's almost as good as the more expensive U6K.